Henry David Thoreau, a famous American writer and philosopher, one of the representatives of transcendentalism, is famous for his profound naturalistic thoughts and his emphasis on personal independence. Thoreau was born in Concord, Massachusetts on July 12, 1817. His life was closely connected with this land, and his works and thoughts were deeply rooted in the nature and culture here. He was also an abolitionist and naturalist with anarchist tendencies and worked as a land surveyor. He graduated from Harvard University and assisted Emerson in editing the quarterly review Corona. He wrote many political commentaries, opposed the war between the United States and Mexico, and supported the abolitionist movement throughout his life. His thoughts were deeply influenced by Emerson, and he advocated returning to one's heart and getting closer to nature. In 1845, he lived in seclusion on the shore of Walden Pond, 2 miles away from Concord, for 2 years, farming and eating his own food, experiencing a simple and natural life. The long essay, Walden, based on this theme, became a classic work of transcendentalism. Thoreau was a man of great talent. He created more than 20 first-class collections of essays in his lifetime. He is known as the founder of nature essays. His writing is concise and powerful, simple and natural, and full of thoughtfulness, making it unique in American essays in the 19th century. Walden is recognized as the most popular non-fiction work in American literature. In Walden, Thoreau recorded in detail his secluded life on the shore of Walden Pond for more than 2 years. This experience not only allowed him to deeply experience a simple and natural lifestyle, but also allowed him to find inner peace in this noisy world. It is like a window that allows me to see another pure and beautiful world and makes me fall in love with Walden Pond unconsciously. In this world, the author's subtle observations of nature, society, and life can all trigger a deeper understanding of people. Let us go and see the dialogue between nature and the soul. Let us find inner peace in the noisy world. The emptier people in the world are those whose minds are filled with themselves. He who has time to improve the assets of his soul enjoys the true joy of leisure. The person who pursues persistently and gets the greatest happiness from it is the one who succeeds. I have no doubt that time will distinguish the good from the bad. Having time to enrich your spiritual life is true leisure. I shouldn't talk too much about myself if I understand others as well as I understand myself. Any language that can withstand rereading must be worth thinking about again. Our most authentic life is when we are lucidly living our dreams. How can you feel poor when you wear clothes earned through your own hard work? A person's value does not lie in the skin, and you don't need to touch them to know them. The finest qualities of our nature, like the bloom on fruit, can only be preserved with the greatest care. But men are not able to treat one another so gently. Why does a bucket of water become smelly after being left for a long time, but water can remain sweet forever after being frozen? Philosophers say that this is like the difference between emotion and reason. A soul misunderstands its identity because of its circumstances and does not know that it is a Brahmin until a sage reveals the truth. If you reach a certain state in life, you will naturally think that you can settle down anywhere. All changes are miracles worth pondering, but they are also miracles that can happen at any time. No matter how mean your life is, face it and live it. Don't avoid it, let alone curse it with bad words. It is not as bad as you are. When you are richest, you are poorest. People who love to find faults will find faults, even in heaven. Love your life despite its poverty. Spending the most precious part of a person's life, making money, in order to enjoy a little questionable freedom during the least precious part of his time. In absolute terms, the more wealth there is, the less virtue there is. I went into the jungle because I wanted to live meaningfully. I wanted to live deeply and absorb all the essence of life and then learn from it so that when I reach the end of my life, I will not find that I have never lived. When you pay too much attention to details, you are wasting your life bit by bit. If you really want to do something, just use your hands. If that's not enough, add your feet and you'll be done. Simplify everything. Simplify. Simplify again. Knowing what you know and knowing what you don't know is true knowledge. We may not be able to reach the destination port within the agreed time, but we can always walk on a real route. When you are richest, you are poorest. A fault finder can find faults even in paradise. A person who is at peace can live a happy life anywhere with an uplifting and optimistic mind, as if living in a palace. There is no need to go to great lengths to get new things, whether clothes or friends. Renovate the old and return to them. Nothing has changed, but we have changed. Life also needs such a guide. Maybe we cannot reach the port within a calculable time, but we can at least ensure that we will not deviate from the route. So-called resignation is a form of confirmed despair. What makes a person's life special is not his obedience to instinct, but his resistance to instinct. If a person can move confidently in the direction of his dreams and work hard to manage the life he wants, he can achieve success that is usually unexpected. It is not until we are lost that we begin to understand ourselves. There is no cure for love, only love deeper. Life has no value unless you choose and give it value. There is no happiness anywhere unless you bring happiness to yourself. Genius will dawn only when we awaken. It's not just the dawn that breaks. The sun is nothing but a morning star. Excess wealth can only buy excess things. The things that are necessary for the soul do not need money to buy. Humanity leads a life of quiet despair. Public opinion is a weak tyrant compared to our own personal opinions. Every morning is a joyful invitation to make my life as simple, or perhaps I might say as pure, as nature herself. God is alone, but the devil always forms gangs. I like to see that nature is so full of vitality that countless creatures can withstand being sacrificed and become prey for each other. It's no wonder that humans lose their spirituality when they cling so tightly to what they have. Many people live a seemingly peaceful but actually hopeless life, which is the arrangement of the fate of despair. You go from the hopeless city to the hopeless countryside, comforting yourself like minks and muskrats. Under the rest and entertainment of human beings, there are actually traditional vices, unconscious despair. How a person views himself determines his fate and points to his destination. We exalt illusions and hallucinations as the highest truth, but regard reality as nonsense. Cleanly eliminate all content that is not part of life. Push life to the extreme and simplify it to its most basic form. Simple, simple, and simpler. There are so many falsehoods and hypocrisies in human society. They are like the chaff that is difficult to separate from the wheat grain. Like everyone, I also deplore this very much. If a person has his own beliefs, then no matter who he cooperates with, his beliefs will not be devalued. If he has no beliefs, then no matter what team he joins, he is just a member of the vast number of sentient beings who will follow him throughout his life. Waves drift. Goodness is the only investment that can never lose money. The so-called resignation to fate is nothing more than a kind of accustomed despair. If you don't feel that the soil beneath your feet is more fragrant than the soil anywhere in this world or any other world, then you are not worth looking forward to. People live in small circles imitating each other. Why don't they try to stay away and be true to themselves? It's not that I'm crueler than others, it's that I don't feel that I have any compassion. The luxury of one class is built on the poverty of another class. I believe there is a strong faith in the seed. I believe you are also a seed, and I am already looking forward to your miracle happening. The life that others praise is just one kind of life. Why give up your own life for one kind of life? All things, good and evil, flow through us like water. When you peek at the bottom of the well, you find that the earth is not a continuous continent, but an isolated island. There is no cure for love. The only good medicine is to love deeper and deeper. Starting from the center of the circle, countless radii can be drawn. Remember, an opportunity only comes once. The light that blinds us is our darkness. Most people live in quiet despair. You might as well try to do those things that the elderly tell you that you can't do. And finally, you will find that you can actually do it. The bustling crowds of people live in this world in loneliness and despair, and the so-called resignation to fate is precisely a re-identification of despair. The more a person can give up, the richer he is. The more a person can give up, the richer he is. If you are familiar with the principles of this kind of thing, what meaning do the various examples and evidences have to you? How wealthy a person is depends on how much he can let go of. The value of any activity cannot be measured by how much profit it makes in the end, but by how much progress we get from it. A person does not die when he should die, but when he can die. The world is nothing but what is external to you. The luxury of one class is maintained by the poverty of another class. No matter how painful your failure may be, don't let it get back to you. Who has ever assigned you to do something you have never done before? My child, intelligence is a knife. It cuts through the secrets of things all the way. From now on, stop living the life you should live. Live the life you want to live. Time determines who you will meet in your life. Your heart determines who you want to appear in your life, and your actions determine who will stay in the end. What a blessing it is to be alive in this world. Why don't I enjoy every day of my life to the fullest? The true meaning of travel is not to exercise, but to drive your soul to find the spring of life. Those lights that make us unable to open our eyes actually mean nothing but darkness to us. No matter how mean your life is, face it and live it. Don't avoid it, let alone curse it with bad words. It is not as bad as you are. When you are richest, you are poorest. People who love to find faults will find faults even in heaven. Love your life despite its poverty. Because I am rich, not in terms of money, but in terms of the sunshine I can enjoy. The evil deeds of man will be remembered even after his death. How many people start a new era of their lives by reading a book? The most encouraging fact is that humans can indeed take the initiative to enhance the value of life. I realized that I had a kind of dual personality, so I could see myself from a distance, just like I saw other people. How a person views himself can, so to speak, determine or imply his destiny. One of the hallmarks of wisdom is not to do desperate things. Everything, good or bad, flows past us like a torrent. Don't give me love, don't give me money, don't give me fame, give me truth. We must learn to wake up again and stay awake, not with mechanical help, but with endless anticipation of dawn. Water is the only drink for an intelligent man. Wine is not such a noble liquid. The price of anything is the amount of life you spend on it. A fault finder can find faults even in paradise. A man who is at peace can live a happy life anywhere with an upbeat mind as if he were living in a palace. Many years later, the farmer still didn't know that this most enviable invisible fence had enclosed the cow, squeezed out its milk, and removed the cream. He took all the cream away. He only left the milk without the cream for the farmer. Older age is not always better. Sometimes an elder is not even qualified to guide young people because he has lost more than he has gained over the years. The more a person can let go of many things, the richer he will be. For life, do subtraction. For thoughts, do addition. Socializing is often cheap. The time spent together was too short for each other to gain anything new and valuable. The reason why humans want a home, a warm place, or a comfortable place is first to obtain physical warmth, and then to obtain emotional warmth. Hard work alone is not enough. Ants are also hardworking. It depends on what you are working hard for. When you realize your dream, the key is not what you get, but what kind of person you become in the process of pursuing it. There is no need to go through all kinds of troubles to find something new, whether it is clothes or friends. Renovate the old and get back into them. A life without planning and calculation is doomed to failure. There is no happiness anywhere unless you bring it to yourself.